Hi guys, how's everyone doing? This is a new video for my channel. I know I've not done a video in ages. I just wanted to do like a life update today of where I sort of am and where I sort of want to go towards for the future. Well, not far in the future, but just next couple of months or so. And what's kind of happened in the last sort of months, in the last few months, that I've not really done a video. First of all, apologies for not doing a video at all. I've kind of wanted to take a fair amount of time off YouTube just to totally concentrate on my business, really. And I felt that's probably been the best. It was kind of the best approach because I noticed at times I was just doing YouTube videos and it was kind of just the same haul, the same kind of sales, and I was kind of just getting a bit bored of it. And I don't feel that it was going in the channel was going in the direction that I wanted it to, really. But I won't talk too much about the channel so far because I'm kind of in thoughts about what to do with that, but more concerned with how things are going for me personally. So I kind of sort of discussed my situation. Might be a little bit difficult for me to say this, and it's not been, basically I kind of sort of say it now that it's not been an easy time for me, and a lot of things have been sadly very up in the air, and it's been quite I say quite emotionally quite a difficult period for me. It's nothing like major in terms of in terms of like anything with my family or anything like that. There's nothing like major happened, but it's just the situation that's kind of happened with my business, basically. I kind of sort of go back, and we can go back to go forward, sort of thing. So basically, it was probably about November, I think I did the last video, and things were actually quite alright around sort of October, November, and certainly December. In terms of sales, anyway, it was really quite buoyant period, obviously because of fourth quarter. Things are going quite well. Sales are going very well, actually. Obviously, sourcing was difficult because it was just off the car boot period, and I was still kind of getting used to eBay sniping a little bit, and yeah, obviously because the car boots had kind of gone. Yeah, the car boots kind of sort of stopped, and then yeah, in sort of October, well, the car boots kind of sort of closed off, and then November obviously was very difficult for sourcing, and I noticed the competition certainly raised up a lot, certainly in November in terms of sourcing. The auction house that I was going to suddenly like double, even maybe triple the amount of people that were going there. Almost in sort of October, November time, it just like that happened, just in the flicker. And then obviously in this game, the more competition that you have, the more difficult you're going to find it, because ultimately there's only there's this, well, I wouldn't say there's only so much stuff, but there is, in terms of like the really good quality stuff which you want to pick up, there is only a limited amount of that. There isn't an endless supply of that. There's an endless supply of what I'd call crap, basically. Well, not crap, but tat, or, well, maybe not tat, but maybe in terms of like just non-good quality items, which, yeah, you might be able to get, your 5, 6, 7, maybe even £8 from. But really, you want to be looking at those £10 plus items. Really, 10 to 15 is where you want to be looking in the ballpark, really, in terms of your kind of bread and butter stock. And then obviously 15 plus is your kind of more sort of higher ticket, better items, which is your top sort of quality items, which aren't going to be around so much. And I think what happened is certainly in the winter time, those sort of items, they tailed off a lot. And I wouldn't say I wouldn't say well I wouldn't say well I suppose when I say tailed off, I mean there probably was still those sort of items around, but again, if you went to charity shops, you'd have to pay more in order to get them, and then the price that you're having to pay is almost not worth you buying it, because there's not going to be enough profit in it once you resell it. So and then obviously auctions as well was another one. Auctions, you're against competitors, aren't you? So the price is just going to raise and raise, and then you can't. There's got to be a point where you say there's no money in it, and I've got to let it go. And it was a few times, especially when I went to the auctions, I'd made the trip, I put the effort in, I put the time in to get there. Sometimes you'd even spend 3-4 hours there, and if you didn't have at least 2 or 3 decent lots, I felt like it was almost a waste of time. So sometimes, I don't like to say it, but sometimes I was, looking back on it, I did overbuy a little bit in terms of actually overpaying the price that I should have paid. And I wouldn't say I didn't make a profit. I mean, I think almost everything that I did sell did make a profit, except for there was 1 or 2 things that I brought which actually turned out faulty, and then I had to take the hit on it, sadly. But apart from that, everything else that I was buying, which actually was tested, and then which I then tested, and then it was working, I knew there was enough profit in it. But when I say enough profit, I'm only talking like, £5 for like a £20 spend, and it was just there wasn't really, the margins were getting tighter and tighter, I found, in winter time. Although on the positive side, sales are really, really good. So, and obviously the prices are actually for round 4 quarter actually rising. So in one way, you could actually pay up for things. And then basically what happened is January hit, and it just all went wrong basically. The first week of January actually was great. I can't complain about the first week of January. I got some amazing sales then, and I thought, okay, well, things are just going to keep carrying on, and then literally just nothing. Well, I wouldn't say nothing, but it just went. The sales went right the way down. Obviously, at this time, I was still doing auctions as well. So, in terms of eBay auctions, selling. I mean, selling auctions, not as a buyer, not going as a buyer. Selling on eBay with auctions, and then that obviously did help to bring in a fair amount of decent regular sales that I could kind of control. But then obviously I was having to put the price fairly low of my items, and therefore not making the margin again. And basically what happened was, during the summertime where the car boot season, I could have big margins. I could be buying for very, very low and selling for very, very high, especially once the 4th quarter came in, and that was great. But certainly once it got towards January, I was having to pay quite a lot for the stuff, because charity shops or auction houses or wherever you're getting your stuff, apart from car boots, the price is higher. It just is. And then obviously, because I'm not able to sell it so much because it's not in 4th quarter and it's going like this, and if you're not making so much money, then you either have to have more sales, or you have to have basically a second income or a third income or something, and a different revenue stream, or obviously some kind of part-time or full-time job to support that. And I was looking into that. I have looked into certainly over the last month, or even getting on for a month and a half now, into part-time work. But for part-time, I think it's actually almost more difficult to get a part-time job than it would be a full-time job, because there's so much competition for certainly for part-time jobs. And even in like what I'd call, I don't want to be offensive to anyone, but what I'd call basic jobs of, being in a supermarket, stacking shelves, or working in a warehouse or something, I would call those, sort of, I don't want to be offensive to anyone, but I'd, sort of more basic manual labour, if you will, in terms of jobs. I found those actually quite difficult to get, because there was the sheer amount of competition. That as well, what I found really quite odd was the whole, the whole application, CV, and covering letter and all this sort of thing. And I was like, well, it's just a basic job. I don't understand why I'm having to do that. And I don't know, it's just kind of like, I find the whole application thing with jobs and the whole thing is very odd. I don't really understand. I mean, I can understand maybe a more qualified position. You have to have the whole checking that they've got the qualifications, checking that they're the right person, checking that they can do what they say they can do, yes. But in my opinion, if it's a basic job, why can't you just say, when can you start? And then just give the person the job. I don't know. I found it a very strange and odd process why, for very basic jobs, I was having to actually almost work for a job. It was almost, you could almost say that you were almost having, you're basically, you almost have to employ yourself to actually find a job almost. It's very odd. Like, it's almost like, you'd have to put like almost 20 hours a week into actually trying to find a job. And you're like, well, in that sense, you almost better just to keep putting your time into a business where you know that you're going to make money. If you're going to spend a lot of hours trying to find a job, you're still not making the money, and you're having to, certainly, you're still having to spend the money. So I don't know, I just find the whole thing very odd, and I just didn't understand why, for what is quite a few basic jobs, I couldn't really seem to get them. But the only things I could have done maybe were driving jobs. But I'll be honest, in terms of, it's one of the things that I found certainly difficult about living in the UK is because I'm from Jersey. I found that very difficult in terms of driving, because to me a 45-minute drive is a long drive. To me, I know to a lot of people in England 45 minutes is just down the road, but to me 45 minutes actually, when I was in Jersey, you could literally go the whole way around the whole island. You go around the whole island in 45 minutes. So to me, 45-minute drive is a very long drive, and I didn't want to take on a driving job and having to do 3, 4, 5 hours, potentially even work full time and do 7 and 8 hours per day driving, because I couldn't. I don't think I could actually do it. I would really be very, very tired and certainly very stressed from doing that, and I just didn't feel that I could do it, especially with having to run my business at the same time. I didn't feel like I could have done a driving job. So obviously what's happened is January, when I paid my rent, I paid all my expenses and what have you, but I was having to use my savings, and obviously to actually do this trip from England, I've already had to go into my savings to do this anyway. And certainly by the time it got to February, it became very apparent that I was taking money out of my savings all the time, and I wasn't, I'm being as frankly honest as I can here. I was taking too much from my personal money to actually pay for my personal costs, and the business wasn't making the money which it needed to support me. So basically, it's come down to a decision of I'm going to have to move back now with my parents back to Jersey. I don't know how I feel about this, because there's one side which you look at it and goes, it's so great to spend time again with my family. One of the biggest issues from being away from my family I've found is just not having the contact just there, and just not having not being able to just talk to your parents or my brother. I only have one brother, and just not having them there, it can actually quite affect you, I find, and I think it did mentally quite affect me, if I'm being honest. Probably more than what I actually thought it would, to be honest. I didn't quite know maybe how close I was to my family until I've actually been away from them. And sometimes, sorry, I'm almost going to cry here. So yeah, I didn't really feel quite, I didn't really quite realise how close I was until, it's that saying, isn't it, of you don't know what you've got until it's gone. And then it was kind of like, once you actually don't have that contact with your family, or you have maybe only twice twice a month contact on the phone or what have you, you kind of feel it a bit more, and you don't, while it's there, it's almost like you don't quite appreciate it or quite notice it as much. I certainly once, my family haven't been here, and I've been away from them. It has really affected me more than I thought it would. So there's obviously that side of looking at it. There is downsides in terms of going back to Jersey. I do feel that as a person, I've kind of sort of grown a bit more into, maybe not what I'd say a man, but yeah, I mean, I have felt more independent, and I do feel more like a proper man rather than a boy. Yeah, I would admit that. I still don't know if I'm there. Yeah, I know. I know it kind of sounds very odd to say this when I'm 31 years old. Well, I mean, 30 years old, but I will be 31 in a couple of weeks. But anyway, but yeah, it does sound a bit odd as a 30-year-old to say this, but I do feel that I still don't quite feel like I'm an adult, but I still feel almost like a kid. I don't know. It's very odd to say. I kind of have very kind of like, I think the way I kind of, maybe not think, but the way I kind of act, it's maybe sometimes people would see it's like a little bit immature almost, but then I think that's kind of my way. I kind of feel like the whole being mature thing, and I don't really know if I want to, I don't really like that so much, and having to, I admit that responsibility for me is a bit of an issue at the moment, and I admit that maybe I should be more responsible, and I guess going back home, it does feel like maybe I'm not being quite as responsible, because I should be living my own life now, and I should be supporting myself fully without any help from anyone. And really, that I admit myself, that should be how it is as a 30-year-old now. I shouldn't have to rely on anyone's income and anyone else's income. It's true, but it's kind of just the position that I've found myself in, and it's been difficult. Yeah, sorry about that, guys. I just got a little bit emotional there. I'll carry on. So yeah, I do feel that I should be, more responsible as a 30-year-old. So yeah, there is going to be downsides, but I do think there is a lot of upsides as well, and there is a lot of the personal side that I do feel that I only get in Jersey, and there is a part of me where I feel that, it is my home, it's where I've come from, and that's that, and I should be there. And there is a part of me that feels that, I wouldn't say it's too late in my life to be, because I am young, I am still young, and I need to kind of tell myself that I am young. I know, well, I suppose 30 years, well, I don't know, it is a little bit of, I suppose it's not like young, but you are still young. You are still at a good age where you can still do anything you want, and you can, even at 30 years old, you can totally change your life. And I admit that you could totally change what you do, or whatever, or even like your career or anything. I guess you can change that. Yeah, so I think going forward, let's try and be positive, and try and say a bit more on the positive side and not get too emotional about this. I do think on the positive side, okay, let's say what I've experienced from it. I do feel that I've become a little bit more independent. I know that I can live on my own, which is good. It's been not about 9 months so I've lived on my own. I've supported myself. I've fed myself. Well, with a little bit of help from fast food and that, but anyway, yeah, a bit too much fast food. I'm not the best cook, and then that's a good positive side. And I do feel that the challenge that I've taken on, I have tried to really embrace it. I have put my absolute 100% into it, and I don't feel that I will have any regrets about of whether I'd put 100% into it or not, because I really do feel like I did put 100% into it, and I did come over here with the full intention that I could build a new life for myself, and to a degree I did. To a degree I did. I think it was the business just didn't quite grow as quickly as I wanted it to, and then B, the social side, I just didn't grow that enough. And I think that kind of came from when you're self-employed and work for your own, it's very, very difficult to then build a social life. It's far, far easier if you've maybe already got the social life, or you have a partner. Sorry, if you have a partner, then you can maybe sort of, I mean, you've got a little bit of social side already, or you've got maybe family or what have you, then you can have a bit more of a social side from that. But trying to build a social network of essentially from scratch is a very difficult thing, especially for someone who's introvert like I am. That's really an extrovert thing which you need to have, and that's the quality that maybe I need to build in to actually be a bit more confident in myself and to be able to speak to almost random strangers. That's, to a degree I have, but I just haven't done it enough where I feel confident about doing it regularly. So looking at the positive side, I think my plan now going forward will be go back to Jersey. I still want to carry on reselling. I still want to do that. I haven't lost any love for reselling. I still think it is a fantastic lifestyle. There's nothing about the lifestyle that I haven't liked. The only problem that I find with reselling is it's a very hard grind, and trying to make even minimum wage is actually very difficult. People, especially some of the YouTubers, they gloss over and have fun and what have you, but they don't really tell you of how much real effort and hard work they're putting in behind the scenes. And I think that kind of gets wiped under the carpet a little bit. And I think if you were to see a lot of the actual full-timers of what they actually do, you'd be really, really surprised of how much work really they put in. I think it's probably phenomenal how they put in so much work. I mean, I've recently been watching, I'm sure a lot of you have, Cora and Helen, and I just am amazed that they can do what they can do, because the energy is just incredible. They literally, well, from what I can tell, they work about 16 hours every day, like no, 7 days a week. There's no break. There's no, well, okay, they took a holiday or what have you, but even so, I mean, there's just, the work ethic is just amazing, and that's something to really that YouTube doesn't really come across very well with that. And you see the highlights and the good sides, but you don't really see the sheer amount of effort which is going in behind the scenes to actually run a full-time business. It's a phenomenal effort you have to put in. I lost track of it. Yeah, going forward, I still want to do reselling. I will obviously go back to Jersey and be looking for a job and looking for work. My aim, really, I mean, I have basically got an IT degree, but it's going to be a little bit useless in Jersey, sadly. I have also looked into actually going back into full-time, doing some kind of IT role. IT development is basically what I've got a degree in, and I've got that sort of side. And I'd like to think it's a bit of a backup, but in one way I don't think it is, because I spent so much time out of the industry, and although I was in it, I was last in IT in about nearly 3 years ago now, just under 3 years since I last had a job in IT. So it's moved on so much, and I don't really feel that degree really shows much now. There's not really, it almost isn't meaningful now, because it's been so long since I got the degree, which has been nearly 10 years now, actually. So yeah, I mean, I don't know in terms of the jobs in Jersey of how well I'll be able to do, but I mean, I'll just have to do my best. And try and find what I can. There's a few things that I've, all reasons as well that I do want to go back to Jersey, but I don't want to say them right here because they're sort of more personal side, which is a bit too much to say on YouTube. So I do think going forward, I still want to be really optimistic. I still want to be positive of I am doing the right move, and I am doing right for myself. I do feel that this is the right decision. I don't know if it's going to be the right decision, like 100%, but I feel like it's right now. Even going to the tip today and unloading 2 carfuls of, well, rubbish, which I either A, wasn't going to sell, or it's all just cardboard and what have you, and all stuff that I just needed to tip. I did feel that the whole process, it just kind of just felt like the right time just to change and do something totally different again. And I felt like I kind of maybe needed it, because if I'm honest, I've kind of felt certainly over the last month or two that I've been maybe a little bit of a rut, and it hasn't really. And I think I just need something which is just going to totally change everything. And obviously, the winter time hasn't helped as well, and it has. I do find weather-wise, I do get affected a lot, and that doesn't help. That, you know, obviously it's not going to help. Obviously, as well, when you're doing reselling, you have to be kind of out a lot of the time, or unless you're going to get like a lot of things off eBay delivered to you. But again, eBay prices, you generally have to pay a lot more, and obviously again we get the margin problem. But yeah, if you're going to go out charity shopping and what have you in January, it's so difficult. It was so difficult in January, I must say. Especially the fact that you wake up, you see it's raining, doesn't help. You go to your car, it's totally frozen over. I remember having to scrape for like nearly 2 weeks, having to scrape all the ice off my car, and then even before you get off, even before you go, you're kind of in a bad mood, and it's just not. I always find as well when you're sourcing, if you're not in that mindset and in that mood, you just don't do it well. You just don't. You kind of go around charity shopping and you're not even really looking. You're just going in, you're going out again almost, and it's kind of like you're not doing it basically. You're just not in the mode. And if you're not in the mode, it's almost pointless you going out, but you kind of go out anyway because you know you have to. It's an odd sort of feeling. Well, not a feeling, but it's an odd sort of thing that kind of happens. And I do think that I have branched out quite a lot in terms of what I've been picking up, and I have really tried to make that effort. It's just I don't think I've had enough sort of bread and butter core items. I think that's kind of been the biggest issue with my business, that I've not had a strong enough core to actually then build off. I think I needed a better knowledge of all the a bigger variety of items. I mean, I have the knowledge in the little niches that I'm in, but in terms of a bigger knowledge, I think that's where I kind of really was let down. And to a degree, you only get that over through years of experience, I guess. But to a degree as well, maybe I could have done a little bit more research and really put in the effort into those fields, because I don't really feel like I maybe pushed some of the areas that I maybe should have. I think I should have really looked into clothing a lot earlier than what I had. I think I only looked into it in about January, actually, when it was almost getting to the point where I was really struggling to pick up, and I was kind of having to pick up almost anything that I could. And I think really I should have looked into clothing a lot earlier. And there has been, a few areas where I feel that I maybe should have looked into during that time, which I maybe didn't look into enough. And I feel that overall that I have done enough, but yeah, it's just not turned out to be enough, sadly. I don't want to end this on a negative now. But I am looking forward. I'm looking forward to the future. I do feel that I can turn things around again. I just need to get myself settled back again. We'll go back home and we'll rebuild again. you know, and I feel like I can come back stronger and better. You know, I feel as a person I've grown, and that's the main thing. I think that I wanted to get out of doing this. I do feel that's the the um, the big positive for me that I need to take. Um, Financially, I've lost, but I've gained in personal knowledge and experience and life experience. So I think that's kind of counteracted. So yeah, um, overall, I feel like I can rebuild again, and I will rebuild again. And I want to. I do want to look back towards doing more YouTube again. I'm not sure what I can do in terms of knowledge or in terms of that side of giving knowledge, because I'm not really sure in terms of what I can contribute on that side. But I maybe just sharing my journey is probably the best way of probably doing videos. I think. Yeah, probably it's gone on quite a long time now, this video. I might do this 2 parts, or I might just put it into 1 part. I'll see. Thanks for sticking with me, guys. If you like the video, give me a like. Subscribe if you haven't. And all the best for the future, everyone. Hope everyone else's business is doing okay, and everyone else has kind of got through the hard winter period, and you're looking forward to a new car boot season, which is, you know, I think it will be good. I think, you know, I am optimistic on the new season. It's going to be even better than the last season, and yeah, I think, you know, this is spring, and I think there is actually quite a lot of positives about this time to look to now. I mean, it's actually been sunny today, so that's a positive. Seeing it's been raining for about 4 weeks, but anyway. Yeah, I'm rambling now. Yeah, bye everyone. Take care.